43 Roman Catholic organizations in the United States sued the Obama administration on Monday.
They object to part of the president's health care law, which requires employers to include birth control in their workers' health insurance. Catholic leaders say that is not what they believe in.
We should be exempt because of the constitutional protection of free exercise of religion. This is something that's absolutely bedrock to America.
New York's Cardinal Timothy Dolan, president of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, is with us now. Welcome back.
Thank you, Charlie. Erica, nice to be with you. Appreciate the invite.
So the argument goes, this is about religious liberty. You make that argument. The president and others have said it's about women's health. What is it you want the administration to do?
Sure. Thanks for drawing the distinction, because we've been pretty clear, Charlie and Erica, that this is about religious freedom. All right? It's not about contraception. The bishops in Alabama know it's about immigration. Our Catholic Relief Service knows it's about human trafficking. Our Refugee and Migration Services knows it's about getting victims of religious oppression here to the country. Our Catholic Charities knows it's about soup kitchens. So it's about religious freedom, the ability of the church to do what it does very well in complete freedom. What we worry about, Charlie, not so much. We do worry about the president's initiative to provide contraception free across the board, but that's another question. What we're worrying about now is the exemption given to the churches is so strangling and is so narrow, and it's also presumptuous in that the Bureau of the federal government is attempting to define for the church the extent of its ministry and ministers. It's that exemption. It's the straight-jacketing, handcuffing exemption, characteristic of that exemption, Charlie and Erica, that we find to be very dangerous.
So if the president says, look, I've tried to compromise here, I'm suggesting we'll let insurers pay for contraception. That's not far enough for you.
That's rather superficial. He and I have had this discussion, and I appreciate his courtesy in speaking to me about it. It's not enough, Charlie and Erica, for two reasons. First of all, it doesn't help us too much because most Catholic entities are self-insured, so we're still going to be paying for it anyway. But secondly, it still gives no attention to these choking mandates, to this choking definition of religion that we find just to be so strangling. You know what we're talking about, Erica and Charlie. They tell us that if you're really going to be considered church, if you're going to really be exempt from these demands of the government, well, you have to propagate your Catholic faith in everything that you do. You can serve only Catholics and you can employ only Catholics. We're saying, wait a minute, when did the government get into the business of defining for us the extent of our ministry? It's almost like we're being punished for the fact that we serve a lot of people and that we don't ask for baptismal certificates at the door. If they would simply mitigate those strangling, the strangling nature of those definitions for exemptions, we'd be able to say, at least we're able to preserve our ministries and services.
How much, though, have you had in the term of conversation about this? Because the last time, for people who may not have been with us that morning that you were with us, you said a long time ago you talked to the president, and there were all these changes, and you hadn't talked to him since. So have you reached out specifically to President Obama to, again, plead your case and say, here's where my problem is?
Yeah, and I appreciate the president's outreach to us, and he keeps telling me that he does want this to work. He keeps telling me of his tremendous regard for the services that the church gives community-wise, and that he doesn't want his administration to impede the good work that we do. Haven't talked to him personally since mid-February, but we have taken up his invitation for the officers of our bishops' conference to continue to meet with his White House staff, which we'll keep doing, even though we're a bit frustrated that there doesn't seem to be any significant progress.
Do you think there would be less frustration if the two of you did sit down once again in a room together? I'm
not sure. I'm always willing to do that, but part of my worry, Erica, is that we've heard from the White House that this is all you're going to get, and there will be no further substantial mitigation. If that posture would change, say the word. I'll be on the Acela down to Washington.
Do you think the White House has misled you in any way on this?
I don't. I hate to question the president's sincerity. I think I believe him when he says he highly regards the works of the church and does not want his administration to impede any of that. I worry, Charlie, that members of his administration might not particularly understand our horror at the restrictive nature of this exemption that they're giving us, that for the first time that we can remember, a bureau of the federal government seems to be radically intruding into the internal definition of what a church is. We can't seem to get that across.
But I mean, he's a phone call away for you. You're the cardinal from this archdiocese. Let me ask you finally, there was a question at Georgetown, a Catholic university, about the Secretary Sebelius. What's the problem there, having her come speak?
Well, I do think that's a problem. Georgetown is the oldest Catholic university in the country. Part of Catholic identity
Invited by the students.
Is to be in union with the bishops, okay? When they would invite someone who has used the word war in describing the relationship between the government and the Catholic Church, and when they would invite someone that is so dramatically at odds with one of the central tenets of the faith, that does bother us. I think we're disappointed at that, but we're not shocked because, unfortunately, we have to admit some of our Catholic universities, thank God not many, have been moving towards a more secular model where they would take their cues from what's happening in contemporary events instead of the timeless wisdom of the Church. I'm afraid that's what might be happening here.
It's good to see you.
Thank you, Charlie. I'm always good to be with you.
Cardinal Dolan.
Your bagels are great.
Last time was our
Did you have
donuts,
more
this time
than-
it's our bagels. Who knows what we'll have next?
How many did you have?
None of your business.
Charlie Rose.
Are you intruding into the internal life?
Invading your privacy
That is exactly what he's doing.
and your choice.
Thank you, Cardinal.